You're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast.
And welcome to this week's Hackers podcast. Every episode available on Spotify and YouTube.
ECG, where everybody can golf.
Now watch this drive.
Belvedere. Brilliant. Wasn't it awesome to hear our latest recruit to the ECG Hackers, one of Australia's smoothest voices, Belvedere. He's back there in the green room. Boys, awesome as always to be here. It's Thursday night. It's Hackers night. Joining us this week from the get-go, from the first tee, Rambo, brother. How you going, man?
I'm doing good. It's pretty warm tonight, but yeah, I'm doing good.
Invested in a bit of tech there as well. I can see a nice little mic. Nice work. And also, as always, the smartest man in the Hackers world, Zook. Welcome again, brother.
Cheers, Ash. Good to be back. Certainly feeling better than I was last week. So hopefully I'm sounding a little better than I was last week. But good to be here with you, gentlemen, as always, on a Thursday night.
Awesome, man. I'm so stoked that you're feeling better. The old COVID's got him last week. As I mentioned, a lot happening this show. We've got Dooley dialing in from Port Macquarie again. Apparently, it's a bit swampassy down there as well. I know I'm sitting here at about a 9 on the Gold Coast SAM meter. And I know we've got Belvedere running the joint right now. So saying that, let's get him earning some money. The first segment of the night. Belvedere, you ready?
Let's head across to the news desk where Zook and his sensational moustache is waiting. I'll head back to the green room now, boys. I will make sure Molly keeps his pants on this week.
Over to you, brother.
Those intros just keep getting better and better, Ash. Love it. Just in relation to the week of golf that was, given that it was only lower tier events in the PGA and the DP world, and no live, some might say it was a low quality week with respect to golf. But despite this, there was still a number of heartwarming and heart-wrenching moments, and I'll touch on those over the course of this segment. As always, the perennial question, good news or bad news first. Perhaps we might start with the heart-wrenching moments of the week. It's kind of a slow week on course, I suppose, when Charlie Woods is the main talking point. The 15-year-old Charlie tried to qualify for the Cognizant PGA Tour event, which kicks off this week. So as 15, I guess any of you two want to guess how old Tiger was when he first competed in a PGA Tour event?
I will have a crack. I believe, was it not at Riviera when he was 16 years old?
That's where he competed, and yes, he was 16. So you grabbed 16. That. He obviously, naturally, was an amateur, but the younger Charlie trying to outdo his old man there, so to speak. But unfortunately, it was a humbling experience for Charlie, who shot a 16 over 86, which included a 12 on the par 4 7th. So personally, whilst I'd love to shoot an 86, but clearly this was an entirely humbling experience for the young prodigy. I suppose a question for you, Ran. What's been the most humbling experience you've had on a golf course so far?
I have humbling experiences every week. I think it's
getting out of the car at the car park.
Yeah, getting out of the car. The hobbling off the course from the knees, barely making it off the course. I've got a long list. But I think it's the old thing with the golf gods. Like, you don't know when it's going to happen, but you just always humbled, and you got to be humble on the course, don't you? And Ash, we've talked about this before. The golf gods. We've said a few things. We've had a bit of confidence, built up the confidence. And the golf god just came and struck us down. So I think it's being humble is probably the biggest thing. But the Charlie Woods,
I think the golf gods may be striking down the Woods family. You know what I mean? That to me is just straight up the golf gods playing their game.
It's back to back. It's weeks, isn't it? It's there was the Genesis for Tiger, and then this. So it could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of the golf gods, not only was it a humbling experience for Charlie, but news has come to light that it was somewhat of a hostile experience for him as well. So I don't know if you heard about what happened on course, but these are some of the things he had to endure during his qualifying round.
Okay.
One, fans walked beside Charlie rather than sticking to the cart paths as instructed.
Right.
Someone approached Charlie after the 12th to get him to sign his father's book. Another fan followed Charlie into the bushes when he pursued a ball he had lost. And then this was the one that really struck me, was that a grandmother admitted to taking her granddaughter out of school to try and catch Charlie's eye, so to speak. So from the get-go, he's really, how can I say, in the spotlight. And I suppose to you, Ash, is all this attention a good thing or a bad thing for Charlie?
I'm going to touch on this a little bit later on. I think it's terrible. I think it's really bad for the kid. I mean, for starters, he's following in his father's footsteps. And, I mean, I couldn't imagine how hard that'd be anyway for any sportsman, Chris. I don't know. I think that must be a very difficult thing to do anyway. So the pressure on this kid must be pretty immense. Rand?
Is it it sort of rings like it's pretty similar to Bronny and LeBron James in a way. You got two of the, whether you call LeBron the GOAT of basketball or not, but he's one or two, whatever. But to follow in the footsteps is almost impossible.
Yeah.
But I think there's a pathway that I think what they've got to do. It's quite unique. They're the absolute elite, and then they're trying to follow the footsteps. And it's never going to happen. It couldn't possibly. Charlie couldn't possibly be. We'd know already at 15. Tiger was already, a prodigy. So I think it's a good thing though. I think it's good for the sport though to give attention, as long as he doesn't get spoiled, and it impacts him in a negative way. Like I think as long as it's a positive experience and he's enjoying the game, and we don't expect him to be the GOAT, then I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. Can you guys name anybody that potentially has taken in their father's footsteps? Is there anyone that's been the GOAT and had a son that's been just as good? I can't. Is there maybe a Formula One driver or someone? Or
yeah, maybe. Bronny's the closest, but he's not going to make it. He's going to be okay, and he's only going to be. He might make the NBA, but it's not. He won't because of talent. It'd be just a business decision. Yes. They want him to play with LeBron, and it's a bit of a legacy thing, and it'll sell tickets. But he definitely won't get even close to his father. But that's probably the only one I can think of.
The only one I can think of is The Rock. There you go.
Yeah.
The bloodline in full effect. But no, you're right, Ash. The F1 one springs to my mind, particularly around Max Verstappen. He's a second generation driver and clearly a lot better, a lot more successful than his father, and he's starting to put a resume together that maybe will end up one day seeing him be atop of the tree in that sport. But I would find it very difficult for anyone in professional sports to have to follow following greatness.
What about, sorry to jump in, what about Del Curry and Steph Curry?
Oh, nice call.
They completely surpassed him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. You mentioned something about someone going into the woods to get the ball or something. Is that what you mentioned? What happened?
Yep,
Someone went into the
woods?
He
was pursued. Again, fans were, I guess, overreaching what they were able to do. And
it's smelling, it's stinking of Emerald Downs with Dooley. So someone followed him into the bushes with his towel last week.
Yeah.
Maybe that same person was playing Emerald Downs.
Maybe.
Anyway, you have to listen to last week's episode to get that. But anyway, Chris, back to you, brother.
So I guess we'll park the heart wrenching and move on to the heartwarming. You probably needed to be under a rock not to hear about the Ronald Rugamayo story. I know this is something that's close to your heart, Ash, and was something that you were following over the course of the weekend. It's certainly a true underdog story, and I might pass the conch to you just to expand upon it and enlighten our listeners about it.
Yeah, with pleasure. So the DP World Tour, my favorite golf broadcast. I love watching it. There's such a broad spectrum of nations playing and golfers from all around the world playing in these tournaments. Anyway, they're in Kenya this week. I loved watching the broadcast. The course wasn't amazing. Some of the holes looked pretty tough, but it was so good to see a Kenyan course. There was this young fella, Ronald Rugamayo from Uganda, who by chance is the only Ugandan to ever make a hole-in-one in a professional tournament. But he also had the chance to become the first ever Ugandan to make a cut on the European Tour. And it came down to this putt on the 18th hole, and it was awesome television. Some things bring tears to my eyes very rarely, but when it comes to sport, I could watch a Disney film on sport, or I could watch an underdog sport or Rocky or something. I'll start bloody crying, I don't know what it is about sport. It hits me right in the heart. I know it probably does you too. And I was watching this putt and I was welling up. Like, I felt really proud for this guy. Ugandan fella, really lovely kid. And he's made this putt. He's hit this about a 4-foot putt and it didn't look like it was going in. It looked like it was going to miss. And then it took a little left turn at the end and dropped in the hole. And the guy sort of went down on his haunches, and the crowd and the gallery around the Kenyan Open just went nuts and it erupted. And it was such a moment that I still get tingles when I think about it. It was just pure joy, pure sport. And that to me is what brings tears to my eyes when I watch and play sports, is things like that, the emotion of it. And I was so stoked for this guy, and he ended up being the first ever Ugandan to make a cut in the Pro Tour there. I could rave about it, but I really loved it. I'm not sure if you guys saw it live, but yeah, it was awesome. Loved it.
I didn't see it live, but do you know the story behind how he ended up picking up golf clubs, Ash?
No, mate, I don't. I'm hoping one day we can actually ask him personally, but no.
Well, we won't get to ask him personally anytime soon, but in terms of the interview, it was quite interesting. So naturally being an African, and he's certainly quite proud of his East African heritage, so I'll be more specific, but growing up, naturally, he and his brothers, would play football or soccer. And then at one point, his brother picked up some golf clubs and ended up winning a tournament.
Right.
And as a result of winning that tournament, he came back with a trophy and a TV. And so from that day onwards, Ronald made the decision that no more soccer. It's all about golf, given what they hand out to winners. So so that's what led to him picking up some golf clubs. So interesting story, fascinating background, and Rambo, you got some thoughts?
I was just going to say, great wrap up there. I think we might build up an audience in Uganda. I think we should be targeting the Ugandan audience.
Can I chime in there, Rand?
Sure.
2.9% of our audience on Spotify is from Uganda from this week. Can you believe it? So, funny enough,
if we can be, the voice for golf in Africa, Uganda, we got to do it. I'm all about it.
I love it. Oh, brilliant. All right, Chris, back to you, brother.
In terms of other, I guess, heartwarming stories, this week locally, the women had the spotlight with the Athena tournament. This is an interesting tournament. It's an invitational field that's limited to 12 women, and it certainly contained a broad mix of backgrounds and experience. It was a great event and a great opportunity to showcase not only the skills but the personalities of all those that competed within the tournament. The field included Sky Lampton, who's an Indigenous female golfer who's certainly on the rise. She's a scratch golfer who only really started playing the game regularly in 2019. And she was one of the two amateurs that were included within the event. She certainly acquitted herself well in the skills challenge. I think she came first or second in the nearest to the pin challenge that they had. But unfortunately, she failed to qualify through to Sunday's match play tournament. But certainly someone I'd love to hear Damo explore and give a bit of a story around her background and her golfing experience. But as mentioned, the Athena is a unique tournament. I think it's unique globally in that as much as it's a match play event, but the process in which they get from 12 down to 8 is incredible. They essentially hold a skills challenge or a combine, as they call it, in which the various participants compete in mini events, such as the longest drive, nearest to the pin, flop shot, bunker shot, and award points from best to worst. And then obviously the top 8 move on to the to day 2 for the match play tournament. I suppose my question to you, Ran, is what shot or what trick shot or what kind of skill would you like to see added to the Athena next year?
Yeah, I'd like to see something a bit different, something right up my alley. More like I'd bring out like a Humpty Dumpty, and you've got to go through the. No, actually, I think the windmill. The windmill is probably the best. I'd put the windmill on the green.
But the windmill drive, maybe a windmill drive.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure. With the motorized windmill, you got to go through there. I think that I'd like to see that, or a ramp shot. Either of those two. Ramp shot, not on the green from the fringe. You got to ramp it onto the green.
Okay.
Putt style. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. Oh, you could do a plethora of things, couldn't you? You could have real gorillas on the green.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depends. True. Kangaroos. Leave the kangaroos on the with kangaroos within 10 meters of your shot, every shot.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's very Aussie. We deal with that all the time.
Yeah.
Chris, this actually makes me think, wouldn't it be more entertaining for a playoff to be maybe 3 different events? You know what I mean? Like, instead of just going back and forth and like that WebEx thing last November when there was like 27 different people playing off, what if we had like you got to chip it off the cart path and you got your windmill shot to get the playoff? I mean, it's no different really to soccer having corners or, penalty goals, but just a thought.
Just to decide. Yeah. No. I'm all for it. It was.
Yeah. All seriously, it's a good concept. I think it's entertaining to watch.
Very entertaining. And that brings us to the end of this week's newscast, Ash.
Thank you. Belvedere, you ready, brother? It's getting noisy back there in the green room.
You're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Each week we are dropping a new episode which you can find on Spotify or YouTube. Also check us out on Instagram and Twitter or X at ECG Hackers. Send us your funny golf tales, ecghackers@gmail.com. ECG, where everybody can golf.
Beautiful, beautiful Belvedere, huh?
Voice of an angel.
Voice of an angel, silky smooth. Thank you, Belvedere, for that. You'll probably notice if you're watching on YouTube, you can't see it on Spotify, but we've been joined by the legendary Dooley from Port Macquarie. Dooley, how are you, brother?
Good, thanks, guys. How you going? Green room is pumping.
Is it, mate? What's going on back there?
Angry Anderson, Tanya Zayada, and the Smiths.
Those two, you got to keep them apart.
No,
in the same room again, are they? That's amazing.
Snitch. Oh, it's a snitch. Oh, see, that's a story for another day. Angry Anderson, you got to keep him quiet. Dooley, play golf today, brother?
Mate, I did, yeah. It was a Sam Mater of 12 again at Warhope.
Oh, 12. It's over
shocking.
10.
Yeah, I hit off at 20 past 7 and 30 past, or half past. I'm drenched, mate. It was so hot today.
Oh. Had talcum powder in the bag? Had a bit of talc there? Do you have a bit of talcum powder in the bag?
Nice clean towel. Yes.
Yeah, nice.
I was just gonna touch on the Uganda. There's no way I'd be venturing off course into the bush there with a towel. That's for sure.
No, that's right. I think they'd be saying probably the same thing about Australia, though. I think a lot of people from overseas know we've got the most dangerous snakes and stuff. But you'd probably get hit by a rhinoceros or something.
You can outrun a lot of our wildlife as well.
Yes, jump them. Now, you messaged me when I was at work today, and you said been paired up with an absolute idiot, which made me feel really bad for you. What was it? No good, mate?
Oh, just random fellas, and first time you meet him and talking about his medical experiences and things like that. It's just the other two blokes were good value.
Yeah.
it's always interesting at the golf club. So
Yeah, I actually think that's probably one of the harder things to do is pair up with total random strangers. It's like going to a conference at work or something, where you've got to be on your best behavior, you've got to be professional.
Yeah.
But golf's hard because it's not just work. It's actually, you got to you want to enjoy yourself as well. I don't know if you guys have ever had trouble like that.
I agree. I can't stand it. I always feel rushed too. I don't know about you. You feel like you're rushed. You feel like they're watching you, and I better not. I better speed up. So that's what worries me and annoys me.
There's nothing worse than feeling sped up. Sorry, Dooley, yours, mate.
I was playing terrible. Like ninth hole, one of the nice blokes come over. He's look, just forget about it. You got another 9 to go. And I think it was about the 12th. I left my wedge on the green, and he's like, "Don't forget the wedge. It's the only bloody club you've been hitting today. If it was your driver, I'd turf in the bush for you." So,
shit!
So it takes about 12 holes for the banner to kick in, but it's all right.
Yeah. That's the other thing. How many times have you cracked a joke like that's a sister shot or something like that, and it just goes down like a lead balloon? That's why I love playing with you guys. It's just, and mates, it's a much more comfortable way to play golf, in my opinion. Dooley, you've come up with a segment. It's all yours, brother. I'm just going to play this. Belvedere, you ready? Intro this for Dooley, and then we'll hit this with What's Your 4 Ball in a second.
Hey there, everyone. It's Belvedere here again. It's time for this week's Who's in Your 4 Ball? Back to you, Ashman.
Beautiful, nice. Dooley. All yours, brother.
Sorry, mate.
Actually, yeah, you know what? Belvedere threw me a curveball there. Dooley is actually doing I ripped or yipped. I'm doing Who's in Your 4 Ball. Belvedere again. God.
Dude. Yeah, so I'm doing the ripped or yipped filling in for you this week.
Thank you. I just love throwing curveballs. That's all good. Let's go to Who's in Your 4 Ball. So obviously the NRL kicks off this weekend. For anyone listening overseas in the United States, the NRL stands for the National Rugby League. It is not rugby, it's rugby league. Now they're playing in Las Vegas as the launch for this season, our winter season. They're playing at the same place they played the Super Bowl. This weekend, there's 4 games played. The one on the network that I work for is actually the Roosters versus the Broncos. And I can't wait to watch that on free-to-air down here in Australia. It's also on KO, so hopefully we all get into it. I do love my rugby league. So I thought because rugby league's kicking off this week, we might do Who's in Your 4 Ball NRL style. Nice. You cool with that, boys? You prepped? I sent you a text. I hope you got it. Good job, Belvedere.
Ready to go, Rush. Ready to go.
All right. How about let's start with Rambo this week. What did you come up with? Who's in Your 4 Ball NRL theme?
I've gone from an angle of knowing my game and how I want to get through the round and the battles that I'm going to go through to get through those 18 holes. So first up, I'm going Jonathan Thurston because I think he's always got a smile on his face.
Yeah.
He's going to be uplifting. Ball. He's not going to take it too seriously, but he's an athlete, so he's going to get it through. He's going to get it through. So he'll get it through with the positivity. Nice. The other two though come from a different angle. Gary Jack. I'm going to pick Gary Jack.
Gary Jack. Wow. Castle Hill Country Club, I believe.
Oh, true. I think he can emotionally take a beating. So
and physically. From Ian Roberts and what's that other guy?
Cliff Lyons.
Cliff Lyons.
Yeah.
So, physically can take a beating and emotionally. Did you say?
Yep. So really can ride that 18-hole roller coaster with me, and then.
I know with the physical beating, but I don't know where the emotional beating. Where's that come from? Sorry, expansion.
We'll see. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. That's part of the challenge. Right. And the last man up, because he can really sniff out the hole. He'll find the hole. Is Hopoate. So
always good around the hole. Always been high.
Yeah, that's my call.
Oh, That is brilliant. That's fantastic. So Jonathan Thurston, Gary Jack from the old Balmain Tigers. I used to love Balmain. Played Balmain grade cricket with Damo, actually. And another one of our ECG members who hopefully you meet one day soon, Lachlan. And then topping off with Hopoate. I'm so glad Hopper's got to go there.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, tie that back to in father's footsteps. Potentially the young Hopoate is better than this Hopoate. Great point. Very good point. Thoughts, Chris? Over to you, brother, for the NRL for you.
NRL for me, certainly a lot more conservative in terms of my four ball. But obviously, to kick things off, we need somewhere to play. So I believe this gentleman is a member of the Castle Hill Country Club. So the first person on my team is Ray Rabbits Warren on the squad.
Oh, yes.
Loves his golf, and I'd love to have a round with him.
Yeah.
The next individual was a recent host of a WebEx event. I saw him in person carry the bag for Jake McLeod. He was certainly good on the bag, and by that I mean he was really good at knowing where to go for the 19th hole. So my second individual is Braithen Astor.
How dare you? How dare you say Braithen Astor? He should have been a Rabbitoh.
And then adhering to Ash's original rules, having a female for all these four balls. Long time part of the NRL coverage on Fox. Have no idea if she knows what a golf club is. She knows a lot about all other sports, but love to have Jess Yates in my team for the four ball. So
you got
beautiful.
The team of voices there. That's going to be a good chat.
A lot of chat, not a lot of entertainment like yours up there. Dooley. We'll go to you, then I'll cap it off. Who's in your NRL four ball, brother?
So if we're playing Ambrose, my first fella to tee off would be Hazem El Masri. Great mover in the ball. I was hoping that would transfer over to golf, being able to fade, draw, pretty much hit the green from anywhere.
Great shape.
Great call. Amazing kicker.
I've chosen, just to see what he'd be like around outside of NRL would be Wayne Bennett. No chance of him talking in your backswing.
Yes.
Very good point.
And then my third choice was purely just to give Wayne the poops. Would be Mick Ennis, because he's just an absolute pest. I would love to see. I would just love to see them two at each other on the golf course. It'd be excellent.
Oh, nice. That would be awesome. That's a good one. Obviously, all four of us are New South Welshmen. I do live in Queensland, and I've almost lived in Queensland, enough to be called a Queenslander, but I bleed blue in the state of origin. So we're talking NRL, National Rugby League. It's Australian a sport we play here in Australia, predominantly New South Wales and Queensland. My NRL four ball, boys. Thanks for letting me cap it off at the end. You had no choice, but anyway. I'm going to go with Matty Rogers, because I reckon he could be a good, decent, he's an amazing sportsman, Matty Rogers.
Also followed in his father's footsteps.
Oh, yeah.
Better than his father, Wallaby. I would say, Steve. Wallaby, dual international.
Yes.
Dual international. And he married Chloe Maxwell. So he did all right there.
Yeah.
Get this. I actually don't like this fella because he's a Rooster and I'm a Rabbitohs fan and they're like arch enemies.
Book a few.
Did you know this young fella actually came to Australia on a golfing scholarship?
Shit.
He played for the Roosters, a massive hit man. Guess who this is? He's going to be on my team. Jared Waria-Hargreaves came to Australia on a golfing scholarship. Can you believe it?
I don't.
How far did that man hit the ball?
Yes, and he said he's broke a lot of golf clubs, and he had a bit of a temper, but he came on a golfing scholarship from what my research is.
Wow.
I don't fact check things though, like Zook, so you never know. Capping off my three ball is Joey Johns, Andrew Johns. I love Andrew Johns. I know Dooley hates him, but I'm a big fan. I'd love to have him on my team. A great leader, great New South Welshman. But I've got a story for you. Rand, before I hit the story, what's that, bro?
I was just going. He'd have a lovely, the grubber little, short game, grubbing it up onto the green. I think he'd be lovely at
Beautiful
that.
Texas
And a
wind.
very upbeat after party as well, I'd imagine, after golf.
That's right. I think actually just while we're here, I'm going to bring up the honour board just in front of us here. So see on our ECG Golf Club honour board, we've currently got Craig Parry, Popeye, and Jack Newton. Andrew Johns was actually good friends with Jack Newton. Jack Newton's son played for the Newcastle Knights. Yeah. Jack Newton was like number one Newcastle Knights fan, number one Novocastrian fan. So Andrew Johns, here's a little story. So he's great mates with Jack Newton. And Jack Newton used to always give Joey Johns tips on how to kick. He'd always be sort of giving him after the game. He wouldn't be afraid to say, hey, that was a crappy kick or your game's off or whatnot. So Jack Newton was always one to offer Joey Johns tips. One night, Jack Newton offered some tackling tips to Andrew Johns.
What?
And one of the best sledges of all time came out of Andrew Johns' mouth. So Joey said, look, I'll take your kicking tips, no problem. You understand ball flight, trajectory, things like that. I'll take your kicking tips. But don't ever come to me with tackling tips, Jack. You tried to tackle an airplane propeller, and you came out second best. And apparently Jack Newton absolutely loved it, and it's one of the best sledges of all time. So I thought I'd just share that with you. The late great Jack Newton and honorary board member of on the honour boards of the ECG. Before we go though, we're talking about Dooley was talking about being paired up with people that is uncomfortable. I'm going to hit you with 3 guys in the NRL I would hate to be paired with before we move on. All right, here we go. Imagine rocking up to a maybe charity golf day or something, and you see the sheet. And this is your team. Billy Slater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand Billy Slater. Michael Hancock.
Oh, dear.
Remember Mick Hancock from the 90s, early 90s?
The ground humper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Get off of me. Get off of me. You look like Belvedere going at it. And then third of all, Sonny Bill Williams. If I rocked up and there was Billy Slater, Michael Hancock, and Sonny Bill Williams on my group, I'd be very much not looking forward to that round coming ahead. Boys and girls, that was Who's in Your 4-Ball. I appreciate that, boys. Belvedere, roll that video.
You're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Each week we are dropping a new episode which you can find on Spotify or YouTube. Also check us out on Instagram and Twitter or X at ECG Hackers. Send us your funny golf tales, ecghackers@gmail.com. ECG, where everybody can golf.
Beautiful. Belvedere, beautiful, mate.
Yeah. Well
Dooley, I want you to stick around. I know you're aching to get back that green room, but just stick around, bro.
Sure.
We've got, we're going to head it over to Rambo for a segment we call Been There, Hack That. Roll the tape.
Fellas, Belvedere here again. It's now time for my favourite segment of the week. Been there, hack that. Time to talk about golf courses we have played, assaulted, embarrassed, and sometimes destroyed. On a side note, guys, I think I may have had a few too many Tim Tams in the green room. Back to you, Ash.
Belvedere.
Hey, fellas.
Sorry about that. Technical problem. Over to you, Rand. What we got? What do we got this week?
Okay, we're in 2014.
Okay.
This is the course is Gainsborough Greens in Queensland. It's halfway between Gold Coast and Brisbane. So this is, if you recall, Ash, it was me and you. Izzy was playing, and our old man came and played too. So it was 4 of us playing. We all hadn't played 2014. We hadn't played for a long time. So I think I had a set of clubs that I've been using, and I had a few corporate days and things to go to.
I think you possibly had the Carnegie Clarks, maybe.
I reckon they were. And God bless him. I think they might have been Sharks. I think I had Shark clubs.
Yep.
And so we we met. I think we decided to meet halfway between Gold Coast and Brisbane at Gainsborough Greens. And you hadn't played for probably 4 or 5 years as well. We'd all put the clubs away, and this is the first time back for a long time, 10 years ago. So we're having a good round. It's not too bad, having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But about halfway through it, I looked over at you, and I could see that you were saying to me, "Oh my God, my clubs are a little bit old and
tacky.
Check out this, a bit tacky." And you showed me your palms, and they were black. The grips on your clubs were like basically melting away in your hands. It was shocking. And I was like, "Oh my God, what is going on with these things?"
I think what happened is because I hadn't played in 5 or 6 years, and I lived in Darwin for a while, and Darwin is a very tropical Australia up near Indonesia, and I took the clubs up there. Then I lived in Brisbane. I lived next to a main road. And I think all the carbon monoxide from the trucks going past must have eaten into the rubber grips. So after 5 years of picking this up, I'm going around going, hang on, something really weird's going on here, Rand.
It was shocking. It was you couldn't wash it off. Hey, like you tried to wash it off, it couldn't come off. But the funniest thing, I couldn't stop laughing. I looked over in the distance, and you were riding with your hand on the golf cart while Izzy was driving. You got your hand reached around, grabbing the top of the cart, as you do. You know that grip that sits on the top of the top of the roof?
Well, I remember this one. Oh, here's the picture if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
So Izzy was driving, and look at even the seat next to Izzy. There's tar, there's rubber, there's stains everywhere. And then the roof up in the top right corner if you're watching on YouTube. Because I was holding on to the roof, not the handlebar, Ran. You know, on the golf cart, there's the handlebar. I was holding on to the roof, and my right hand had all that tackiness on it. Look what happened to the roof.
You were staining the roof of the cart. I'm looking across from the other side of the fairway, just seeing that you with the black, the roof is turning black on the cart. I was just in hysterics. You're looking at me like, what's the problem? I was like, take your hand off the roof. It was just like covering the roof. So that was the first part of the equipment issue. The next part that I was already dying laughing with that. That was just like, and I don't know how you're playing.
I was embarrassed, but my grip on the club was amazing. It was amazing. I could really give it a crack, but I had to literally rip my hands.
It was like the pole vaulters with like Tatiana Grigorieva or whatever.
Tatiana Grigorieva. Yes.
Yeah, you're gripping it up before you go for the vault, and it must work. It works. So
it works.
I think it's probably worth trying again, to be honest.
But
that's not where it ended. That's not where it ended, guys. So the next part of it was the shoes you were wearing were they Niblets or foot joy? I don't know, foot joys maybe.
Niblick.
Niblick. Nice Niblets. But again, you hadn't worn them for 6 years. Probably been through the same condition of going to Darwin and Brisbane and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I started hearing, you know, the sound of like sandals or thongs when someone's walking around the house, like that slap, slap, slap on the bottom of your heel. I was hearing that every time he was walking to the ball. The bottom of his heel was coming off the upper of his shoe. So the sole was, was coming off. And it was slapping at the bottom of his sole, the upper.
It was like I had flippers on, hey?
Yeah, it was like you're walking around wearing flippers. And because of the glue must have just deteriorated and come off as well in that period.
Yeah.
So the whole bottom was come off. And I think I was dying in laughter. Couldn't handle it. And I think you ended up just ripping the bottom off.
I had to just look. I've got a picture on the screen now if you're watching on YouTube, but I'm literally about to throw out the Niblick shoe, the sole.
The sole's going in the bin. And then you continued on just wearing the upper of the Niblick.
Yes.
So from a distance, it looked like you were wearing shoes.
Yes.
It looked like a moccasin.
Yes,
Mate,
it was like a moccasin. Yeah. Slippery as all hell. Could not do anything. Like the grip was amazing. The hand grip was amazing, but I was slipping around like Fred Astaire. It was like soft shoe shuffle.
Shocking. I was waiting for like someone from the course, the marshal, to come out do an inspection and come over to you go, boys, that's not regulation.
Yeah.
But what's not regulation? Hey,
Yeah,
like he's wearing niblings.
Yeah, but they don't have the sole on it. But was I breaking
Still-
any rules? No.
Yeah, right.
Technically, they were golf shoes.
Technically,
Exactly.
golf moccasins. Hey, I've noticed that club ever since then. I felt so bad when we took the cart back because one side of the roof was literally, it looked like a rock art that you'd find out at Uluru. It really did. It looked like a black handprints all over the roof.
Yeah.
And it was obvious who it was because my pants had massive tar marks all the way down it. So I remember that. Yeah, I was wiping my hands in my pants. And I remember feeling so bad. Like, what do you do? Like, how we do this? But it was getting dark. So we managed to just park it and nick off.
And these days, now how you drive the cart these days and it has the thing on the front that says you could do damage to them. It literally lists out each part.
Yes.
So it says roof, $895. If you broke the glass, $700.
Right.
We were up for $1,500 because that roof was destroyed.
And the seat would have had to been replaced as well.
The upholstery would have been $1,000, but we managed to. It was late in the day, so we managed to park it and run. And didn't cause any issues. And I don't think they would have known. They would have been like, "What is this? Can we clean this?"
What's
I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly. What has happened? So it was epic day. A lot of learnings from the day, but one of the funniest rounds I've ever played.
Yeah,
It was like
goes
the
down
guy
in
on
history.
The guy on the next shift would have thought it had come back from the police fingerprinting lab or something.
Yes, it did. It looked like it was dusted. It looks like it was dusted for prints.
This is a crime
Absolutely.
scene. He would have had the gurney out, and nothing would have worked. Nothing would have
worked to get that off.
Acetone.
Yeah, a bit of acetone. Message from one of our sponsors, boys.
Golf 49. Quality golfwear, $49. From mild to wild, our entire range of shirts, shorts and accessories are $49 each, including free shipping Australia-wide. golf49.com.au.
Beautiful stuff. I've managed to pick up some shirts from Golf 49 and loving them. They're quite vibrant, colourful ones. Got one with the flamingos all over it. Now I've just got to work on losing a bit of weight.
One of those would be so good at the Hopoate Country Club.
Yeah, I think they should start making undies in that material, for us guys that I know Dooley and I struggle with swamp ass.
Anti-swamp.
Maybe anti-swamp ass.
Yeah.
Belvedere, thank you. It's going crazy back there. He's just, I'll tell him now. Dooley, I'm so sorry about that mess up before. I'll talk to the boys later. It's all about ripped or yipped. Ripped or yipped is Dooley's segment where we go around the grounds, and if we agree, we ripped it. If we disagree, we've yipped it. And I believe you got some questions for us, brother. Over to you, mate.
I do. And you reckon you all were. I was thinking, what segment have I told Ash I've got going on here? So anyway. Ripped or yipped this week.
Yep.
Is PGA better at building golf globally than Live? Ripped or yipped?
I'll start off. I'll go. Yeah. Is PGA better at building golf globally? No, yipped. No, yipped. I'm going to say golf globally is being built currently by the DP World Tour better than anyone else. So I'm going to go yipped, brother. Bran?
No. Bran?
I'll go yipped also. I think I'll say Live though. Live has got a global tour going, and I think they're doing a better job of that.
Luke?
I'll go ripped. Global golf is defined by Tiger. They have Tiger, so ripped.
They don't, Chris. I went to try and watch him, and he wasn't there.
That's right.
Don't forget that.
And I'm going to go yipped as well. I think Liv's bringing in a complete new crowd of people and gets a lot more diversity watching, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Love this. Loving this. Dooley, what we got?
Okay. So, question 2. Have you guys ever heard of Florence Kasumba?
No.
Well, me either until I googled famous Ugandans. Now, who do you think the new famous Ugandan bloke is at the top of the list?
Ronald Rugamayo.
That's him, Rugamayo.
Rugamayo.
So, what do you think? He ripped or yipped? Is he just great for the game of golf at the moment?
I'm going to go ripped. Absolutely. What a story. Anything that makes me cry and gets the hairs on the back of my neck up, I think that's ripped. What an awesome story. But it's what can he do from here? Can he inspire the next Tiger Woods coming out of Uganda? Some 7-foot giant who's going to swing a club and hit it 400 yards. That's what I want to see. So ripped 24/7.
Yeah.
Rand?
I'm with you. I'm ripped for that. I think he reminds me of Eddie the Eel. Is it Eddie the Eel?
Oh,
Very good.
In the Olympics. Reminds me of that.
Oh,
But he's
Eddie?
actually good.
Eddie the Eagle was the guy who did the ski jump, but Eric Musambani.
Eric
That's
Musambami.
it, Eric.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Nice.
Eric the Eel. It reminds me of that. And I'm all in. I think we need to be pushing for this to be big in Uganda. And I think we're big backers of him. We've got to support him. We want a Netflix deal with him. He's got to have his own, documentary coming up. So all in. Shirts, Netflix deal, all behind it.
Yeah.
Even a condiment of like Rugamayo. We could do it. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. Just with his face on it, like. Sorry.
I don't know how I follow that, but I'll probably go yipped because it just shows that there is such a gap between who's present on the tour and who's not. I think it's presented a bit of a spotlight. I'm all for Ronald, but I think it shows that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and particularly as a group whose motto is everyone can golf. We need more of him out there. So yeah, I think it just shows there's a big hole.
that's what she said.
Okay. So next question. Do you guys remember Anthony Kemp?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he's making. Yeah, me too. Kind of. He's making a comeback after an 11-year gap in his golf, and he's just been pinned to come dead last in his first tournament. Ripped or yipped? How do you think he'll go?
I'm keen to watch this. It starts tomorrow. Anthony Kim, he's been away for 11 years. They were saying he was going to be the next Tiger Woods.
He was a prodigy.
He was
a prodigy.
Yeah.
There's something very fishy about why he had an insurance payout of $20-odd million or something. So I think somebody's paid that insurance debt and got him back in, Greg. The Shark. I would say if the question was, is he going to come dead last? Ripped. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Too much time out of the game. And that Liv is an amazing group of golfers.
Yeah.
100%. How do you come back after all that time against the top players in the world? That's impossible. So I'm with you, ripped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bleeding heart. As someone who loves to see these kind of comebacks, I'm in his corner. So yipped. I don't think he'll finish last. I think he'll acquit himself nicely. So yipped.
Okay, good.
Well, as someone that's had such a long break in the game of golf, I'm on his side as well. But from my experience, it ain't going to happen. So we'll see how he goes.
Let's just hope he's got new clubs. Hey, Ash, and he's not taking his clubs he hasn't played for 10 years, and they're
Still, he's
falling
not
apart.
using the Talamode bubble shafts, and don't wear
Yeah.
nibbly. They don't last.
It just
And hopefully he's
shows
not wearing nibbly.
He gets to the first tee, no gloves, just black stained hands.
Oh yeah, maybe he will start a new trend.
Yeah, the pole vault method.
Next ripped or yip, we've got the golf ball rollback. What do you guys think they should roll the driver size back as well?
Ripped. Absolutely. I think it's the number one thing that has potential of ruining the game of golf. Ever since 1992, I remember I left school in 91. The Great Big Bertha came out. I remember it was 190cc, and it came out. It was metal wood, and it changed the game. Now you go down here and you spend $1,500 for a driver, which is 400 cc cubic centimeters, and you get yourself one of those drivers, and you're half decent. I mean, you'll be hitting at 300 yards. So I'm going to say, if the question is, shall we roll back the driver? Ripped, absolutely. I think don't worry about the golf balls. Roll back the drivers. Ripped.
Yeah, like I think I agree with you 100% there, Ash. Yeah, but as I've said before, I don't really care what CC it is. I'm all about the sound. So as long as it still sounds good when I hit the ball, that's the main thing for me. As long as it's got a nice, ping to it, I don't really care. So personally,
Yeah.
Was the Gobbledoc?
Nice ping to it.
Yes. Was the Gobbledoc?
Yes.
CCs?
Still out there?
Yeah, the Gobbledoc. Remember that creature?
Smiths, not CC. Smiths.
Oh, that's Smith's
was
chips.
Smith.
Okay, sorry.
CC was you can't say no. I think.
That's right.
That's the tagline.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Chris. Over to you, brother.
I think yipped. I don't think it really matters. I've seen clips of pros using, drivers from the 2000s. Like one of my favorite drivers of all time, a Mizuno Pro 300S, which is the driver that Vijay Singh used to the 2000 Masters to win. That was groundbreaking in its time. It's only 300 and I think 340 or 330. It's in the name, CC, and modern day players are able to rip that 300 yards. I don't think it makes a difference. Current players use mini drivers. Fleetwood has a mini driver, which is essentially that 300 cc driver. So yeah, I don't think there's a need to roll back drivers. So yipped.
Okay. Oh no, we've lost Dools. Dools he has trouble down there in Port, doesn't he?
Oh, telecom vans left, and he's gone.
I'll pick it up though. Yeah, go for it, Ren. Yep.
Oh, that's a dumb question. So the CC is the density of the club.
Cubic centimeters, Ren. Cubic centimeters. Just the volume of the head.
So that's the volume. So it's necessarily just the size. It's the volume, and that's the density that's going to create the inertia or whatever to get behind the ball.
Yeah. So I use this club. This is from 15 years ago. This is Callaway ERC Fusion 3. The Fusion 2 was actually, fun enough, non-conforming, the ERC 2. So this is an ERC 3. It's probably about 13 years old. That's a 440 cc, I think. Some of those big ones now are all up to 460 cc. And there's a crank driver out there, which Bryson DeChambeau was on Rick Shields' podcast once, and it was a 500 cc, but it's just cubic centimeters. Dooley, back. You went and checked out Belvedere. You got you back in, bro.
Oh, it was a phone call from my daughter in England, but this is more important. She can wait.
That's right. Absolutely. You can bloody wait.
Yeah.
All right. Keep going, bro. What do we got?
So a couple more questions. Tiger Woods, will he win another pro tournament, ripped or yipped?
Yipped. I don't think he'll win another pro tournament. I think we'll be lucky to see him in another 2. I don't think so. The poor guy. What a legend. Absolutely love watching him. Absolutely. It's heartbreaking, but the poor guy's got a lot of physical problems. So he won't play. He won't win again.
Yeah. I mean, you'd love to say yes. Hey, like if you could just get through 72 holes and you'd say yes, you'd love to. We all want him to. But just after seeing him at the Genesis, it was just like, can he not? He can't even get through 1.5 rounds. I thought it was because of his, body, and it wasn't the flu. But I can't see him getting through 4 rounds. So yeah, it's a yipped, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be all chalk. It's a yipped. I think we're all sad to say that, though.
Yeah,
I'm same. I don't think he's got it in him anymore, sadly. So, last question. Charlie Woods, do you think it'll be anything more than a social media sensation, or is this kid going to make it big?
Can we start with Ren? I need to think about that. Ren.
I actually think he's got a chance. I mean, I was watching the Tiger Woods documentary the other day, I didn't like it too much because it's very negative sort of tone to it. I didn't really like it. But there was some interesting points in there about the reason why Tiger was just so good. It's because he just learned from such a young age, and the mechanics and you got to learn anything at a young age. It's like us trying to learn a sport or even a language at an older age, even past 15 to 30 years old. It's almost impossible. So he's got a chance because he's been just like Tiger at such a young age, learning the mechanics and all that sort of stuff. And he'll probably, because he seems pretty small still. So I think once he grows into his body and gets some athleticism, there's probably a good chance because he started at such a young age and he's got the mechanics all in place. So I'm not going to write it off. Good luck to him if he is. It is all about the hype. Cool, that's great for the game. But I think he could have a chance if he grows and starts getting athletic. So
I'll buy some more time, Ash. Similar with Ran. I think if we go, it's probably more probable than not that he'll make it to the tour. He certainly got the genes and certainly had the environment to develop his game. And certainly by all accounts in terms of how he played in the what was the father-son event or the parent-child event, he acquitted himself pretty well in that.
I think Mr. Drummond and Gary Coleman played in that too, didn't they?
And he's already, acquitted himself well at the high school level. So I imagine he will probably go via the college system first before he goes pro. And I think he will have a successful professional career. So ripped from my end.
Well,
I think after you go first. Sorry, my bad.
Sorry. Yeah, I think he does have the skills to get there. He just, like Ash was saying before, he just needs to be left alone. Let the kid be a kid and get his skills up a little more, and I reckon he'll get there. I think the only thing keeping him back from being as good as his father is should have been called Tiger Junior. I mean, they really, all the good sporting kids are, like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. There's always a junior in there. Should have kept it going.
Eddie Guerrero Jr.
Eddie Guerrero Jr. Also, there's another,
Isn't Patrick Mahomes the third?
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Horace Hogan. Anyway, I've been listening to you guys, and look, I'm going to change my mind because I was thinking golf is a sport. If you can practice and practice and practice from such a young age, and imagine having Tiger Woods as your mentor. If you take on that aspect of it, wow, you're set up for great things. So I actually think he's going to be a major winner. He's going to be a great golfer. And in 10 years' time, we'll look back and go, yeah, man, he was. He's got everything laid out for him. He's got an amazing father. He's got talent. I mean, if you've seen his swing, his club head speed, I think, was over 200 mile an hour or something, or ball speed or something. Chris probably knows more about that. But I did see an amazing swing on him. So I think, I know I'm an idiot. I know. But I think he's got things. I think he's going to be ripped. He's going to be a great player. Dawes?
It'd be great to see like Charlie Woods, Little John Daly, and Arnika Sorensen, Skid Will, all three of them. That'd be just great to see them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've got one more to add on to your ripped or yipped, boys. And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think anyone really paid much attention. Here's my question or my statement. Rory McIlroy will be playing in LIV in 2024 after the Masters. Ripped or yipped?
Looking that way.
After the Masters.
Well, there's news today, right? There's rumours today.
Yeah, there is news, and it's not. I wouldn't call it news. It was some tongue-in-cheek statements made at the Cognizant press conference around Rory's response to comments made by his former manager. And I could read them out to you, but I'm sure you've all heard them. But it's
Belvedere putting the pressure on. He's put you on.
Oh, he is
solo.
pushing the pressure on it. Okay, so his former manager, which he has a great nickname, Andrew Chubby Chandler. I love that name. It really runs off the tongue. Basically, was hinting earlier on in the week about Rory joining the Live Tour, and so this naturally came up in the press conference today before the Cognizant Classic. And when asked about these comments, this was Rory's response. He said, never know. He might know a few things. Who knows? And then was, pushed again a little bit. And when told that Chandler put those chances from good to 10%, McElroy went on to say, it's probably somewhere in the middle. And who knows? So at all times, it all seemed a bit tongue in cheek and a bit on the sly. So personally, I'm yipped. I don't think there's anything behind this. I think he's made his bed. It would be dramatic for him to shift. So that's my 2 cents.
I'm going to say ripped. I feel like we're going to see him at Live at some stage. I don't know when, but at some stage. I feel like it's going to be a little bit like when the Ultimate Warrior came to WCW and feuded with Hulk Hogan when he was Hulk Hogan had the NWO and the Warrior had the OWN, One Warrior Nation. And that was failed miserably.
That was the biggest
flop. It failed miserably.
That's a big. I would go. I think it's bigger than that. It's huge. If he was to leave, that's the end of the PGA. Like what else? I mean, they've obviously got the others are just follow surely because your marquee player is gone. So I think it's more like Hulk Hogan leaving, going WWF and going to WCW.
Oh, nice. No, absolutely.
I find it very coincidental that it comes very soon after that apology he made as well.
Yeah.
Last week. So in those regards, I'm going to say that maybe 50-50 could go. If someone offered me $1 billion, man, I'd be playing golf with Saddam Hussein himself. Seriously, that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah,
a lot of money.
Yeah, generational wealth.
That was thoroughly enjoyable, Dooley. Belvedere's over there, he's smiling his ass off. I really enjoyed that, ripped or yipped, and I want you to bring that again next week. If you wanted to get in touch with us, obviously, Rambo looks after our ECG Hackers Instagram account. There's a lot of things happening there. We're getting some hits out of Uganda, apparently. Our Ugandan audience is growing each week, which is obviously showing what's happening in Uganda. We've actually got 3.5% of our viewers are coming from Uganda. So if you want to get involved, you can email us at ecghackers@gmail.com, ECG Hackers on X, and ECG Hackers at Instagram. Chris, Randall. Yes, go, Dooley. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I've just got a bit of homework for our news guy, Chris, this week. After last week's episode, could you get us some stats whether golf towels have gone up or down in sales?
I'll do my research. I'll do my research during the week and get back to you on that one. I'd like to think people would be looking for some fresh golf towels after the episode last week.
Yeah, reclaims from Lost and Found have gone down, but the sales have gone up.
Chris, you asked me something earlier in the week, and I'll just do it before we leave. We'll wrap the show up in a minute. But you asked me, what is the first club you put in your bag? And I couldn't stop thinking about it all week at work. And I think, as lame as it sounds, I want you to answer as well. My first club I put in my bag is my putter. I love my Odyssey putter. It's from 1997. It's Odyssey Dual Force Rossi. It's got the rubber face. I bought it secondhand. It's a mallet putter. That's honestly the first thing I put in my kit before I play. Thoughts? Lame?
Not lame at all. You use your putter more often than any other club, so clearly makes sense, Ash, why it would be the one that you'd hope you have a strong relationship with, and is the one that you go to first. So
true.
Not a lame pick whatsoever.
That's
Cool.
a long
Anyone-
relationship. Was that 1997? That's a long
relationship.
That one.
It is very long. I mean, think
That'll-
about what's changed in the world since I had that putter. I mean, you went through wars, 9/11s, bloody everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go down that angle. Dooley, were you going to say something, brother?
Because
No, he wasn't. No worries. Put you on the spot.
No,
I had a great week, guys. I really enjoyed everything. Thank you so much for joining us, Rambo, from down there in Sydney. Zook's down in Sydney as well. Thanks for joining us again, Zook. Always amazing to hear from you. Thanks for testing out the Telstra Ethernet connections down there, Dooley. I noticed you dropped in and out a few times tonight.
yeah. Sorry, I don't know what else I can do. Sorry.
No, I love it. Love it. Thank you, Belvedere, for looking after everyone out there. Angry Anderson, Tanya Zayeda. Molly's got his pants on, which is good to see. That's it for this week's episode of ECG Hackers. I'm the Ashman. Had a lot of fun. We'll see you next week. Peace out. I'm hitting the 90s.
Later.
You're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Each week we are dropping a new episode which you can find on Spotify or YouTube. Also check us out on Instagram and Twitter or X at ECG Hackers. Send us your funny golf tales, ecghackers@gmail.com. ECG, where everybody can golf.